Do you remember the days when we could fly our flag freely, not worrying about somebody stealing it out of our yard, burning it in our front yard, throwing bricks through our windows, just because we have a flag? Do you remember when we were able to take our kids to a ball game and not have to warn them about the people around them? Didn't have to try to skirt around all these medical mandates. People putting masks on their kids, making it so their kids can't breathe, can't speak, making it so that we are powerless. Do you remember? Do you remember the time when we could speak openly about not liking our president, disagreeing with the government, saying down with the establishment, without worry of the feds or the FBI knocking down your door at 5 a.m., holding your children at gunpoint? Do you remember? Do you remember the time when veterans were revered as heroes? When the men and women that sacrificed everything were cherished and respected? Do you remember when we used to say the Pledge of Allegiance without worrying of offending others? Do you remember when we used to have to memorize the preamble of the Declaration of Independence in school? Do you? Do you remember when we used to start the day with prayer? Do you remember standing in the hallway and singing the national anthem? Do you remember how wonderful you felt to be American when Lee Greenwood belted out to stand up? Do you remember the tears on veterans' faces as they got to see their families for the first time in however many months since they had left? Do you? Things have changed in our country. The skies have not always been clear. Our history is just as cloudy. But that flag has always flown free. The old red, white, and blue. Things were a lot slower back then. Do you remember when we had time to sit back and remember, to cherish the memories of those that have gone in the past? Do you remember when we looked forward to the future? Do you remember the smiles on faces this Saturday morning when the kids are shoving sugar-based cereals down their face, watching cartoons on the only 3 channels that we got? Do you remember being able to have as many family members as you want over for the holidays? Do you remember being able to visit your loved ones and your elderly in the nursing homes and hospitals without having to jump through a bunch of hoops and be told how you can visit, how long you can visit, if you were allowed to visit? Do you remember being able to hug your loved ones without having a giant piece of plexiglass shoved in between you? Or the division thrown in between you at the table? Do you remember when the media was credible? Do you remember when we could trust those that we were asked to entrust? Do you remember when a day's work brought a fair day's wages and you were able to afford to provide for your family? Do you remember the time that you didn't have to work non-stop all week just to afford food for your table and gas for your vehicle? Do you? Do you remember being proud of your nation, being friendly with your neighbors, sharing in good times with a perfect stranger, not worrying about what political affiliation they were? Because as much as we remember, times have changed, things have gotten dark, and we just kept letting it go. We just forgot, and things have gotten darker and darker since. I look forward to a time when this darkness starts to brighten up and the flag can fly free without worry, without retribution. I look forward to a time when America can stand proud, because I would stand up next to her. I would stand up next to you. I look forward to better times, to being able to remember the good times and the strength and resolve that we gathered together as one to get through the tough times. I look forward to a better future for my children, my family, my children's children. I look forward to being able to afford the smiles that can be put on their faces when they're not hungry, or when we can't go see family because the gas is too much. I look forward to the smiles on their faces when they can hug grandma without a mask, without plexiglass, without restrictions. I look forward to a time when love is no longer restricted in this nation, that when unity, camaraderie, friendship, loyalty, dedication, wholesome American values are not seen as criminal acts. I look forward to a time when I can recite the preamble of the Declaration of Independence to my children, and they know exactly what it means. They know exactly what it takes to preserve it, protect it, and they hold and cherish it. I look forward to a time when patriotism is not seen as extreme. I look forward to a time where I can complain about my president and not worry about the fuzz. Heck, even if I like him, I'm still going to complain about him. That's what America's all about. Being able to redress your grievances against your government without fear of retribution. But many have forgotten that, and many are sitting in prison right now. This is why we sing this beautiful Star-Spangled Banner every night, to stand in solidarity, to not forget what it means to be proud to be an American, and understand the sacrifices that are symbolized by the red stripes on that flag, of which it has taken to preserve her this long. And I want to be able to remember the purity symbolized by the white on our flag, the purity of American values, the purity of righteous indignation, and the purity of our livelihood and the rights given to us by our Creator. I look forward to a time when the blue on our flag, symbolizing unity, can actually be true once again. Stand with us. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Do you remember? I hope so. Don't forget. Sing for freedom.